Okay, so I am not going to be streaming today, so I'm going to be telling a story, and the reason is because I did not get any sleep at all. But that's not bad per se. I mean, I got to see my girlfriend today, which okay, if I were to, I saw her last week, but if I did not see her last week, it would have been about three, 3 and almost 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks without seeing her, at least once. So I stayed up and we got to finally hang out and talk. We didn't get to talk for very long, but we got to talk. Anyways, um, I'm here to basically talk about no, not really a topic per se, but rather a story. And it's a fairly, since I'm really tired, I'm just gonna share with you a very kind of funny, well, not really kind of funny. I mean, it's kind of those ones, the one of the funny kind of jokes where you have to be there um, to really understand what was going on. Okay, so I'm going to. Oh my goodness, what am I going with this? I'm so tired. I'm just like spewing out things. Uh, when. Okay, you know what? I want to share my experience at Disneyland when I was in eighth grade, when I was graduating, when I was going to graduate the eighth grade. It was one of the most interesting moments of my life. My friends and I, we were going to go to. So you were divided by homeroom teacher. So you had a homeroom teacher, and you would go on the bus. And depending on your homeroom teacher, when you ride to Disneyland, you have a certain meeting spot. So you go on the bus however you want to get on the bus. No, I'm sorry. It was divided by last name on the bus, and then what was I gonna say? Um, and then when we got there, you had to go and meet up with your homeroom teacher. So when we met up with our homeroom teacher, we finally got our like passes and stuff like that. We had to go up there, and then we had to wait for them. And then my friends, they ran off, and then my teacher was like, no, you have to stay behind. I'm like, well, my other friends just left. Why is it that I'm the one that gets left out? So I got left out, and I was like, oh my goodness. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes goes by. They told me what ride they were going to be on. It was Space Mountain. They were going to go on Space Mountain, and I go to Space Mountain, and I don't see them. So then I wait about maybe, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes. Obviously, that's not enough time, but still, 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own shiz. So not too soon, not too long after that, I think the very first ride I went on was Splash Mountain, which took a hell of a lot of time. And then I ended up going to Haunted Mansion, and that was the ride where there were these New Yorkers that came to Disneyland, and this is actually one of the more interesting stories I think I'd have to tell because I was just so interested in their in the way they pronounce things and the way that they would speak. Um, and at the end of the day, we all became such really good friends, even though I was like the only California person that they were hanging out with because they were all New Yorkers. Um, and they were here also for their eighth grade graduation trip. Um, but they had to fly over here, and it was such an interesting um, it was such an interesting experience. Um, Sorry for all the ums, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts. The next ride we went on after the Haunted Mansion was the Indiana Jones ride. That was a fun ride. I think we managed to get on it twice, but the thing is like, okay, this is kind of the dumb thing to me. On the back of the ticket, it says that you have a free fast pass on there, and uh, the coworkers that were there, so I didn't want to use my fast pass unless it was for a ride that I really wanted to go on. And all of my I met up with a few of my friends. And they said, no, 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 no. the coworkers will let you get on the rides regardless. I'm like, what? You can use the fast pass as many times as you want. All you have to do is just tell them, oh, you're a student and you're here for the eighth grade graduation. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, just show us your ticket. Okay, yeah, we know that you're that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I would have known, I wouldn't have waited 45 to 50 minutes on the freaking Splash Mountain ride. So, but I mean, thank goodness I did because I got to meet some pretty cool new people. So we ended up going on the Indiana Jones ride, and then the second time we went through the fast line, the fast line route, and that was so freaking fun. I cannot, I oh my goodness. I just remember we were just running through everything. Everyone was so aggravated in the line, and they were just like, "Oh my goodness, when am I going to get on this ride?" And the ride's only like maybe like 3 minutes or so, and then we ended up going to Splash Mountain, and then we ended up going to the Matterhorn. Oh, it was so much fun. We totally skipped Toontown, F Toontown. Well, I'm not saying that initially, like that's the worst place there. It's a Small World. I think is my least favorite. I think that's what it's called. Or maybe that's the name of the ride. I don't remember. Um, we went on Main Street quite a bit. We got to hang out a little bit there. Um, I think the highlight of that day, hanging out with them, was going to a restaurant. No, not really a restaurant per se, but rather a little. I don't know, like a sort of a lounge kind of area, and they were selling drinks. And by drinks, I mean like soda and water and stuff. Um, I ended up buying the soda, and we just talked for maybe like an hour or so, and then we went back onto the Matterhorn, and that was we went through the fast line, and I remember this little kid that wanted to get in. I guess his mother was waiting for him to go on the ride, and one of the New Yorkers was so nice that he let the little boy get on the ride with him. He's like, oh no 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 no, and oh he doesn't have fast pass, but he wants to really get on this ride, and the coworker was such an amazing person. He just like, okay, we'll let him on the ride. But they made it so low key. It's like, yeah, yeah, he has a fast pass. Okay, he was just showing me his fast pass. He was such a nice guy, and we got to go on that Matterhorn. I'm getting tingles already. Oh, that was such a very nice moment. And I think the another highlight of that day was when I was hanging out at um, what other ride did I go? Oh, big the Thunder Road, Thunder Cannon, Big Thunder Cannon Road, Big Thunder Road. Oh, excuse me. It was that rail cart um ride, and that was we went on that like 3 times I think, and the reason was because there's no one really going on it, and we're just like, okay, there's a fast line here, we'll just go on it again and again, and we ended up going on it 3 times. That was a heck of a lot of fun. I think we went to Critter Country. Did we have something to eat there? I don't think so. But I went to Jungle. What was the place called? Jungle World? I don't remember. And I think we ended the trip with the Haunted Mansion. I told him I went to the Haunted Mansion once before. No, that was the first time I went. I was like, this is such a no Pirates of the Caribbean. We went to the Pirates of the Caribbean last, and I said this is a soothing way to go because I didn't know how the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was, and it was such a soothing ride. We ended up like falling asleep. I remember that initially. We ended up falling asleep, and the person in front of us said, "Oh, you have to get off the ride," and we're like, "Okay." And that was the way we ended it, and we ended up parting ways. Um, but I remember that day, some of the dialogue that we would talk about, like how the school system is over in New York as compared to in California. It was it wasn't too much different, but it was different enough, and to the point where he wasn't really surprised because he has this notion that a lot of Western states they have some. Well, I wouldn't say that they have it easier, but he's versed in how they do things. Every school district is different, though, of course. Every school district is different. But he said on the East Coast, it's, I would say, I don't know if it's much more competitive. Regardless, we're talking about like school stuff. And then we also talk about video games quite a bit. Quite a bit of them play video games. A lot of girls in New York, they play video games. At least the ones that were in eighth grade that we were talking to, are. And I think someone was like trying to set up with somebody. It was one of the most out there adventures I've ever had in all my years of living in California. It was definitely one of my greatest. Um, and the we had to go meet back up on the bus. So this is how Disneyland ends. So I'm like, okay, we have to be back at like 5 or so or something like that. And there was a student that was late, maybe like 30, 40 minutes, and the teachers and the bus driver was getting worried, and they're like, oh my goodness, what happened to him? And he ends up coming like 30, 40 minutes later, and he's like, oh no, I was just, hanging out, chilling. The ride was taking forever. They're like, hey, you could just use the fast pass. Oh, I never used that. I didn't know that I could use the fast. He basically said like such a really good um, excuse that it made quite a bit of people laugh. And coming back and looking at how my experience was at Disneyland, I always have positive um, thoughts on it. And the reason, oh, I think I went to Star Tours too. Star Tours and the Buzz Lightyear ride, but only once each. I'm sorry for all the yawning. I'm just really tired. I'm gonna go to sleep like immediately after this. I'm just gonna pass out for like maybe like 2 or 3 hours because I have to get up for work. So it was quite a bit of fun. Disneyland was definitely one of the better experiences I've ever had in the state. Uh, how do I want to end this? Okay, so we go back to school, and my dad's there to pick me up. And the friend that was late, no, I wouldn't say really the friend, but the classmate that was late, he got reprimanded so much. And the thing is, his response was, "You can't do anything to me now. I'm going to graduate." And there is some truth to that because if you think about it, our last academic day, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this. You guys don't know, but our last academic day, so there's the last week of school. The last academic day is on that. So let's say your graduation's on Thursday or Friday. Your last day of academic teaching would be Monday and or Tuesday, and it'd just be finals. Um, and once we're done with all of that, then there's just graduation practice. So we came back and we had to do like the obligatory. Oh, how was your time in Disneyland? Did you enjoy yourself? Oh yeah. We enjoyed ourselves. And they said, okay, well, since you guys are motivated now, you guys are gonna have to wake up earlier to do the graduation practice. So Disneyland was on Tuesday, and our graduation, I believe, was on Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, Thursday. And we had to get up earlier on Wednesday so that we can perfectly separate. I'm sorry, perfectly align the graduation rows. Excuse me. So just because of that student, we all had to wake up earlier, and and looking back at it, it was kind of it was really one of those. I'm sorry, very one instances in your life that you actually do something that's stupid. So I don't want to actually say the word, but I'm gonna have to. Basically, he just said, "YOLO, I don't care. I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna get out of here." Because if I think about it, like junior high was one of the more prissy years of my life. It was so demanding. I mean, even more demanding in high school. Because high school, like let's say you're in sports, that's a demanding thing to do because you have to get up and you have to exercise, but then you also have to do um, you know, passing and throwing stuff like that for soccer or football. Wait, what am I talking about? What was I literally talking about? I think I just went off on a tangent. Literally, It's the tiredness seeking in. So there's something right here. I don't know. I have to look at that. I don't think there is. I don't know. I have to look at that. Anyways, if I want to end this story about how I went to Disneyland, that is how it ended. It ended okay. No, no, no. Before we went to Disneyland, we had to do graduation practice, and that was a chore. So we left like 10 minutes later. Um, so the student that came late, he gets reprimanded, and we all have to wake up early. And if I were to sum my Disney that whole Disneyland trip in one word, it would be um, hmm, surprised because did not like Disneyland. I did not like the idea of Disneyland. I was fairly surprised because I got in free and I got to see so many rides, got to ride on so many rides, and have a lot of fun. Anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. It's been going on for a little bit longer than I wanted to, and that's because I was basically tired and I went off on a tangent quite a few times. In the next video, I think I'll post when I get out of work, and that'll count towards today's or yesterday's if you're watching this the next day. Um, Excuse me. So if you guys all enjoyed yourself in any way, be sure to let me know in the comments, at least in the comments, how you felt about this story. I know I jumped off here and there, and if I look back at it, you might be saying, or you might be watching this video and it's like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about here? What are you talking about there? I'm very, very tired. Oh my goodness. Um, I don't even know how to end a video like this, other than enjoy your weekend, just in case I come, uh, tomorrow or tomorrow PM to the next day after tomorrow's AM. And yeah, thank you everyone for all the support when it comes to these kinds of things. Uh, but be sure to let me know your thoughts. Like, what other kind of stories do you want to hear about? The reason I want to talk about Disneyland specifically is because it was one of the better highlights of my life, and it was a good way. It was a good way of me having fun. Anyways, that's gonna be the video, guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna get some sleep. I suggest you get some sleep or something to eat or whatever because you need to. I don't even know how to end it. How do I end this? Oh boy.